So welcome to my kitchen. This is Cooking Today. Hi, welcome to Cooking Today. Hope y'all are doing all right today. I am making French toast, yummy classic French toast. And it has got so many good flavors like cream and vanilla and cinnamon and all kinds of good stuff that it soaks in, and it gets so delicious. And then we crisp it and brown it and make it really good. And then y'all, I'm gonna top it with a whipped ricotta cheese for that little creamy bite. And then some syrup, and then some beautiful fresh berries. So this is a showstopper. It's easy. You're gonna be surprised if you've never made French toast at home. It is really easy to make. There are kind of some stations and some steps. So just like with some, some things that require a little bit more time maybe, you kind of have to do your prep and then your stations and then have everything good to go so that you can make it all at once. And that's what we're gonna do today. This is so good. I cannot wait for y'all to try this one at home. I get real excited about sweets. It's my favorite, so we're making sweets today. I have just literally poured about a half of a bottle of store-bought maple syrup in my little warmer, and I'm just gonna turn it on super duper low on the stove and let that just start to warm through. You do not want this to boil, and you do not want it to simmer, anything like that. You just want it to be warm. And this little pot's gonna get nice and warm, and so really, it's gonna kind of just do its trick super duper duper low over here. Okay? Make sure my heat's on. Okay, I think we're good. Nice and warm. And some people just like to microwave theirs. If you have a neat little gravy boat that you want to do, then you can do that as well. Piece cake. Okay, for the cream. Oh, wait, pause on the cream. The other thing that's super important for y'all to know is that we have allowed our bread pieces for our French toast to kind of just dry out a little bit at room temperature. Now, I love challah bread for French toast. It's really good. It's pretty specialty, so you can't get it just everywhere. You can get almost everywhere just a good old-fashioned French loaf. And this is just that big, long bakery French loaf that you get at your deli or your bakery at your grocery. And then I cut it into about 1-inch pieces so that you've got a little bit of girth. You kind of want it to be crispy on the outside and kind of soaked and yummy on the inside. And so this is going to be just right. So I just took my sharp knife and cut them into pieces and then laid them on this tray that I have lined with my little wire rack so that the air can get up underneath it as well, because we want them kind of dried out on both sides. And the reason that we want it to dry out is because we're going to soak it in this cream and egg and vanilla goodness, and we want it to be dried out enough that it doesn't just turn it completely to mush. So by drying it, it gives it a little bit more staleness. You could also go buy like the bin or the basket at your grocery that has like the day-old bread and like the yellow tag on it or whatever. That's a great place to get it because you actually want it to not be the most fresh. So dry, older bread, and then let it sit out a little bit and get nice and kind of staled out at room temperature. Now onto our cream. Okay, this is the good stuff, y'all. What I have is an egg, and it just jumped out of my hand. Okay, so we have 4 large eggs, and I like to always cook with room temperature eggs. It just kind of helps them crack open a little bit better. They whisk a little bit more, easily and kind of incorporate a little bit better. So we're going to do these eggs. So what I have is these 4 large eggs, and then I have a little bit of half and half, and then we're just going to infuse all this creamy good liquid with vanilla and cinnamon and sugar and a little pinch of salt, because you always have a little bit of salt in your sweet. Okay, so I'm whisking these eggs to get them nice and incorporated, and I like for there to be just a tiny bit of air. Oh, I've got my bangles on. Can you hear them? Always sounds a little bit like Christmas around here, like Santa's flying over. Jingle belling. Sorry. Anyway, got my eggs going. And you want them to be nice and light in color and consistency where they're really nice and smooth. And then I'm going to pour in my half and half. This is about 1.5 cups. Oh, it's getting good. And I'll tell you, you know that I like to use whole ingredients, but if you wanted to lighten up and use a fat-free half and half, you absolutely could on this one. But you're coating bread in cream and eggs and butter, so yeah, what's a little full fat half and half right now? You know what I mean? Okie doke, pretty, pretty. So then I'm going to glug in a couple of teaspoons, tablespoons, whatever you really like, of vanilla. I think our recipe may say 1 teaspoon or so, but I sure love it. Love vanilla, always love vanilla. It's one of my favorite steps. Oh, I mean, even just right there, the smell of that vanilla, y'all know what that smells like when it hits. We're gonna add a little bit of salt, a little bit of cinnamon, and a little bit of sugar. Keep whisking this up, and when we come back, we're gonna coat these yummy pieces of bread and get them browning up in a skillet. Delicious French toast. This is Cooking Today.
Cooking Today, sponsored by West Rock Coffee Company.
Hi, welcome back. We are making French toast today. We have got all of our stations ready. So what I've got is French bread that we've cut into really nice thick slices, about 1 inch thick. I've let these sit. I've kind of even been flipping them a little bit so that they'll really be sure to get nice and just kind of dried out just enough. Now they're still really nice and tender, but they, you know, you can just tell they've just kind of dried just enough on the outsides so that we can soak up the half and half and the vanilla and the eggs and all the good stuff that we've whisked together for our soaking cream. So what we've got is our little station set up, and it's right here at my stove. Now what you kind of want to do is almost set up an assembly line where you work from like left to right or right to left. You don't want to be on French toast reaching over here and grabbing over here. So it takes a little thought to kind of line out in your order of things. So here, I'll show you how I've got mine going. So I've got my bread that I'm laying out right here. And then my very next station is my cream and vanilla. And I'm gonna soak in that, and then I'm gonna move straight over here to my warming skillet. And I've got it preheating. It's a little warm. Preheating, and I'm using a non-stick skillet. You can use cast iron if you would like, kind of whatever is your preference, but I've got this good, nice non-stick that I really love. Then I have my rack where once we have made our toast and we've gotten the pieces nice and brown, it's going to move over here to a different rack that's clean, a nice little holding station while we make the others. The last part of my kind of station that I've got going is that I do have my oven turned on low, 275, 300 or so, because if it takes you a little time to kind of work through your French toast, then you don't want the pieces to get cold. You want to be able to serve them all kind of together nice and warm. So after they come off of my skillet and they go over to my holding rack, I can actually put that holding rack with the cooked ones into the oven and let them just stay nice and warm. Then I can serve all of this at one time off of that rack out of the oven. Does that make sense? Otherwise, you're going to have like little warm ones, little not warm ones, cool ones, ones that were made 10 minutes ago versus the ones that are fresh coming off. So do you hear all that? That's kind of our little station setup, okay? Strategic, and it's going to come out just right. So what we've got is a little pat of butter, salted or unsalted, it doesn't really matter here, and my non-stick skillet. I'm going to actually do 2 pads of butter here, okay? And then I've gone ahead and taken a piece of my toast, my yummy French loaf, and put it in my, it's just basically floating in this good cream sauce with that cinnamon and vanilla, okay? And you just want to kind of let it soak maybe a minute or so on each side, 30 seconds. I mean, you don't have to time it. It's not that important. But you do want it to be where it will go kind of soak into the inside of the bread. And then watch this. Oh my goodness. And then I'm just going to go ahead and keep going with the other side. So I do another piece of bread, let it soak a minute, flip it. And all the while, I'm checking this one that's going. And it's a really easy system. It's kind of like if you were having to make a whole bunch of grilled cheese sandwiches for somebody or a whole bunch of pancakes for your family. You kind of are working and pouring and flipping and all of that to kind of move them over to your rack when they're finished. So I've got this one and we've got this flipped. Oh, it's so good. And y'all, I love, 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 love French toast, not just for breakfast. I love this for dessert. I mean, it is rich and delicious and it's so pretty. And you can never, ever, ever go wrong, ever, with bread and sweet cream and vanilla and sugar. That is good breakfast, lunch, or dinner. It's not gonna matter. So let me check this one. Yep, look how pretty and golden that has gotten on the bottom side. Oh, it's so, so pretty. So I'm gonna let that one keep cooking both sides and we're just gonna keep flipping. Now I also have gotten some berries and I love to do just a mix of raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, strawberries, whatever you want. You can leave them just nice and whole without any sugar on them, or you can kind of do like a little macerated, which we've done before, where we do a little bit of sugar, a little splash of water, and just kind of let them sit and marry. I really like them whole on this particular recipe because we have got so much sweet going. Oh, that's a pretty one. So much sweet and so much going that I just don't think that we need it. Plus, we're gonna have the that yummy warm maple syrup on top. I mean, we have just got a lot of good flavors. So just don't touch your berries. Just get some good, pretty fresh ones at the grocery, at your farmer's market, and just put those right on top. It's the best bite. I love it. Okay, gang, this one is done. Beautiful on the bottom, and I'm gonna line my pan. We're gonna flip this one in, put it in, and let it brown, and we're just gonna continue. Oh, that sounds so good. We're gonna continue through all of our pieces, flipping them and browning them as we go, and we're gonna put them on our sheet pan, let them stay warm, and we're gonna make this amazing whipped ricotta to go on top. This is cooking today.
Iced tea, sponsored by Lipton.
What I love most about the farmers market is the music, the art, the food, the people themselves. That's local, that's Fayetteville.
Local means homegrown.
My kids can run around, they can choose what she wants to get and eat.
I like growing and selling directly to the public.
The market is kind of what community ought to be.
Visit us Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday on the square.
The Fayetteville Farmers Market.
100% local
And loved.
Hi, welcome back to Cooking Today. We are wrapping up the most beautiful French toast ever, and we are about to make this amazing whipped ricotta that goes on top. We're gonna do that in a minute, but let me tell you what we've got going on for a little recap. We have taken this beautiful French toast, these pieces of bread, French bread that I've sliced about an inch thick, 3/4 of an inch or so, and then soaked it. You saw all that cream and egg and vanilla and all the good stuff, and then browned it in a little bit of butter in my nonstick skillet. We have the oven turned on nice and warm and toasty. I've turned it off now because it's still nice and warm, but oh my goodness, I just got a breath. Oh, there's a little cinnamon in that and the vanilla. I mean, I could just pick that right up and eat it just like that right now. It's so good. But we're just gonna let these, now that they've cooked, we're just gonna go ahead and put them in the oven and let them just continue to stay nice and warm and a little bit crispy. Y'all, you gotta make this one. Will you please promise me you're gonna make this one? It is so delicious. So while I am making this little ricotta topping for our French toast, we're just gonna let those stay nice and warm. And can I just tell you something super duper interesting? Y'all are not gonna believe this. Do you know that French toast is not even French? It's not. I just told the crew that it makes me really sad to find out that it wasn't even French to begin with, because we've always thought that. It's actually named after the man French who brought it from Europe over to the United States or to the Americas. His name was French, but it's not really French, it's Roman. How about that? That kind of turned your world upside down. Like when I found out that pimento cheese did not originate in the South, it is from the North. Just have to grieve that for just a few minutes while I mix my ricotta. But anyway, so there's a little nugget of info for you about your French toast. And then let me tell you what we're doing here, and I'll tell you a couple of other things as well. This is just an 8-ounce carton of ricotta cheese. It's just a really good, smooth, creamy cheese. You know, generally you would put this in like a lasagna layer. And you know, you would maybe season it with like some oregano or some basil or whatever and give it some good kind of a savory flavor. But we're gonna make it sweet so that it's a good, nice, yummy cream to go on our French toast. I'm just adding a little splash of vanilla that I love. And I'm gonna go ahead and give just the smallest little shake of cinnamon there, because you know, we've done cinnamon in our egg mixture that we've put in our French toast, that wash that we, you know, cooked those in. And so I thought it would be a really nice little touch just to include it over here in this layer as well. And that's just kind of a good cooking tip. It's just to kind of, you know, carry flavors over from one thing to another. So you have a nice, good thread, like a good flavor profile across the board. So that's our little way to do it in our ricotta. And now I'm just taking a couple of just kind of heaping tablespoons and adding those in as well. And then I'm just going to give this just a little stir together. This is delicious. This would be so good inside of crepes. Remember when we made crepes? This little ricotta mixture, this sweet one, would be fantastic in that. Okay. Giving this a little stir. Now let's talk about a couple of other things too, because y'all ask me this a lot on my blog and on Unimay's Instagram and all that. If you are wanting to make this for a morning, let's say that you're gonna have company on a Saturday morning, and you don't want to have to get up and make your big long assembly line and do all of this, and it makes a little bit of a mess. You've got lots of pans and your cutting board and all that going. So if you wanted to have a little bit more kind of nice and neat and succinct for the morning of, you could go as far as what we've done right here with the French toast, where we've you know, kind of grilled it and browned it and crisped it up a little bit. And you know, we laid it on the sheet pan. You would let that cool entirely. Then you could put sheets of wax paper between them. You could put pieces of foil, something to kind of keep them separate from one another, and then you could refrigerate those in like a good, like sealed off, like a, you know, storage container with a good tight fitting lid, or in a freezer bag or a refrigerator bag where you burp the air out and keep them nice and, you know, kind of airtight. Then on the day that you're ready to make them, then you could just get them back out of the fridge and just put them back out on that sheet pan covered in foil, and then let them bake at maybe 350 or 375 for 10 minutes or so till they just get, you know, kind of nice and warm through the middle. You can even freeze those, you know, those ones that we just baked or, you know, kind of browned up. You could even freeze those, y'all. And then what you would do with them is kind of the same way. Put them with, you know, like wax paper between them, put them in an airtight bag. And then you could do the same. You could put them in the oven. You could even stick them in the toaster. Wouldn't that be a great weekday breakfast for your kids, or just when you're in a hurry? You could have those pre-grilled, yummy pieces. Just pop them in your toaster and just fix one or two with lots and lots of berries. You could even do peanut butter on top of those for your kids if you wanted. Really several good ways to get this made. We have got it all prepped. We have our ricotta that we have sweetened and mixed. We have our berries that are sitting here beautiful. We're gonna pull our French toast out of the oven and assemble it the most beautiful plate in the world. Can't wait to eat this one. This is Cooking Today. Hi, welcome back. French toast is in the air. Everywhere you smell, everywhere you look. Look at all this beautiful work that we've done. Not a lot of work, not a ton of skill, but just a little bit of know-how and great ingredients, and this is a showstopper. I have this wonderful, neat little long platter, and I'm gonna show you how we're gonna plate these. So I'm gonna pick my favorites, these pretty ones, and I'm gonna lay these right across this plate. I mean, y'all, we may have to arm wrestle in here over who's gonna eat these, because they are smelling good. And then all we're gonna do is take a little bit of this ricotta. You are welcome to taste this as you go. Sweeten it up, if you would like, with a little bit more powdered sugar, a little bit of vanilla. You could do orange or lemon zest inside there. It would be so bright and delicious. I'm gonna just take a little layer and just spread this right here in the middle of this one, because that one's on top, and then I'm gonna stack them. I think stacking is pretty. Look, it's like a sandwich. Isn't that pretty? A creamy, sweet, yummy, crispy sandwich. And then we're gonna do our warm syrup. Oh my goodness. Warm syrup, some fresh berries all over it. I'm gonna go on the top. I'm gonna go down the side of the plate. This is the most beautiful dish. It is wonderful. And then last but not least, you can't have French toast without a little beautiful shake of that powdered sugar right on top. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert, you name it. French toast is gonna always hit the spot, y'all. Hope you'll try this at home. Love every bite. This is Cooking Today.
Cooking Today, sponsored by West Rock Coffee Company. Kitchenware is provided by Una Mays. Groceries provided by Harps, Hometown Fresh. Online Elements sponsored by Fayetteville Farmers Market.